very proud of this role, and I started doing the work in October 2016 as an extension of my work as a local industry advocate, so helping local businesses sell to the ACT government, so think, state and territory procurement. It was really clear at that time that space and cyber and other strategic areas really relevant to defence were key opportunities in economic development in our region. And so it was a very comfortable confluence, if you like, of the economic development agenda around space and cyber and the opportunities for local companies to grow that led to the development of the position of ACT Defence Industry Advocate. So it was probably about 6 months after the release of the white paper and the DIPS, the Defence Industry Policy Statement. So there was a lot of awareness and a lot of business excitement about the defence industry opportunities that were flowing through with those policy commitments. One of the reasons why I'm drawn to defence industries is because it's consistent with a lot of the things I believe in. In my former political career, I did a lot of work in the innovation and industry portfolios with a strong focus on what Australian companies were doing in the market, particularly in technology and particularly around global thinking. So there's a really strong alignment between the current policy on growing our defence industry, the export strategy that sits really comfortably with me and what I continue to believe in. To put the ACT's interest in defence into context, it's really important to understand that we're a very small jurisdiction, a territory government in the national capital. And that means we have an extraordinary benefit of the Department of Defence, of CASG, of the service chiefs, the security agencies and federal parliament, so decision makers right here in Canberra. That attracts a lot of interest from companies doing business with defence anyway. Add to that a really interesting and dynamic sector of small businesses, of primes that have a presence here, and you start to get a really good picture that we're not only a very diverse economy, but it's built up of companies doing their R&D here, head office here, and then some larger SMEs, and I'll use CEA as an example, who have their production facility here. And so we've got a number of companies like that who are choosing to grow in the Canberra region. So it's far more diverse than most people think about Canberra, their national capital. From a territory government point of view, we have a very modest economic development part of the Chief Minister's Department. So we have to be really clever about how we apply minimal resources to making the most of those defence industry opportunities. And that's a really central part of my challenge. A lot of the thought leaders and policy developers and decision makers are in Canberra. So companies express a preference of needing someone in their show to be what we call close to the throne. In terms of growth and opportunity for businesses, SMEs to grow, for primes to expand their footprint here, the real challenge is those companies finding the skilled workforce. So at the heart of our defence industry strategy is being able to demonstrate to companies that we're investing in our education system from K right through to postdoc and PhD of the right kind of people to fill those jobs. We know that if businesses can see that they can grow their business here through their workforce, that they will choose to grow in Canberra. It's not just the military presence here with the headquarters at Russell, but there is a whole defence department. And then you have the associated national security agencies are also in Canberra. So I guess one of the important things is that these federal agencies and departments are a huge part of the Canberra workforce. We're the Economic Development Division of the ACT government, which is kind of like a combination of a state and local government everywhere else. So we have an Economic Development Division that's trying to leverage the opportunities in our private sector growth, acknowledging the strength of those public sector departments and entities right here in close proximity. It's a combination of really great technology companies. So in our defence strategy, we've got to focus on space, cyber, systems integration, training simulation environments, and what I would say non-military platform services. So think Aspen Medical, health, logistics. On value, it's about $1 billion worth of contribution to our regional economy, and we know that there's about 8,000 direct jobs in defence in this relatively small city. So it makes up an important percentage. And when you think about the fact that most of the companies contracting to defence, we know through the KPMG survey, that of their revenues, it's usually less than 50%. In fact, on average, between 20 and 40% of most companies' revenues actually derived from defence contracts. So it's less about being a specific defence companies and more about being a wide range of service and technology companies, systems integrators that do a lot of work for defence, but their company's health and sustainability is not necessarily entirely dependent on defence contracts. And that's an important fact when you're developing an industry policy. Xtech, CEA, EOS is a big manufacturer here as well. We've got companies like Eclipse who do a lot of their production of their hardware elsewhere, but have their R&D and corporate management here in Canberra. So it's a blend. You won't see necessarily a huge amount of large-scale manufacturing here, but often the companies engaging in those activities will have an office here and their plant in Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, Brisbane, and we develop our presence in our activity around having a part of a business here. We believe the strategic strengths in the Canberra region are cyber, space, systems integration, some of the training simulation environments and those non-military platform services. The reason we've identified these is because those businesses are the ones that are telling us they've got the opportunity to grow. We believe they align really firmly with the aspirations contained in not just the white paper, but the Defence Industry Policy Statement and all of the strategies built in to, make good on those commitments. We also think that aligns really strongly with our education sector, and this is a critical point. These policies emerged in partnership with our education sector. So education, training and skills development has never been an afterthought in our defence strategy. It's always been at the heart. So we bring industry and education together so they can actually track the growth and development. The businesses can see the people coming through the pipeline with the skills and expertise that they require. And the education institutions like CIT, the Canberra Institute of Technology, can anticipate and work with industry to develop their courseware. And that's exactly what's happened with the Cert 4 and Graduate Diploma in Cybersecurity. CIT has been at the forefront of developing that courseware in partnership with industry. So that part of our sector, cybersecurity, can continue to grow at the current momentum. What you'll see in the ACT and defence industry is us continually to put a spotlight on those SMEs that are growing. And they're growing in the strategic sectors: space, cyber, systems integration, training simulation environments. We know that those businesses are the ones that are most likely to create the sustainable jobs and careers and are likely to choose to stay in Canberra as they grow. The ACT will never try to be everything to everybody. We're too small. What we are the epitome of great collaborators. Most of our companies have a presence in another state already. We celebrate that and we say there are good reasons for being in Canberra. Let us help you grow in the way you need to here, but let us also support your national and global thinking about your growth. At the heart of the ACT Defence Industry Strategy is the commitment to skills and providing business with the confidence that if they grow here, they'll be able to access the workforce they need. As far as incentives go for companies coming to Canberra, we're a very small territory in a very big economic region, so we collaborate really closely with New South Wales as well through a cross-border MOU to promote defence industries. So it's not about what's inside the border, it's about how we communicate and support business in a much broader sense. And that is about location, of course, it's about facilities, it is about education, and it's about support and connections. So most of all, as a defence industry advocate, I see myself as a connector, knowing the right people, the right organisations that your business needs to talk to and communicate with.